What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another video. You're joining me here on another squat segment here. We're going to work up to a heavy single today and just kind of try to walk through everything that I'm doing. I'm going to try to slow down with the editing and the talking so you can kind of see exactly what's going on here. I know it's lifting, it's not the most interesting stuff in the world, but just my thought process behind how I do things and how I program things and go that way. So I'm going to provide a little bit more, footage leading up to lift, not just the main lift, just so you can kind of just see and, how I prepare for everything depending on, what needs to be hit and stuff like that. So you're going to get familiar with these warm-ups. I always preach do similar warm-ups whenever you're working out, especially a heavier single. The more you can control, the more consistent you can be. And the only variable then will be that PR, maybe that weight for reps that you haven't hit before. So confidence is key whenever you're lifting, and if you're constantly doing different warm-ups each and every time, it can make getting to that top set difficult. Things may feel different, you may begin questioning yourself early on, so finding your groove is super important here. So just finding the weights that work for me, and I try to do between heavier lifts like a lower body, like a deadlift or a squat. I'll try to do between 40 and 50 pound jumps, and then as I get to my heavier set, consolidate those just so I can make sure that I'm feeling okay here. So 374, 375-ish here, and I could tell that was kind of moving slow, so that kind of tells me going to these top sets, it might be a little bit of a grind. I am noticing here as I'm watching back my video, I'm not sitting as far back as I think I am, and I think that's why that bar rolls and then pitches me forward. So you'll see here, kind of bent forward, and I'll go and I'll sit back. And then when I come up, I'll kind of pitch forward and then recorrect. So I feel like I need to sit back a little bit more, so I'm going to make a mental note of that and try to work on that in the subsequent sets. But different angle here, you're going to kind of see some of the same thing. I like this angle because you can see the mirror. You can kind of see what's happening with the front of me and the back at the same time. And you're going to notice when I engage here, I'm going to pitch forward a little bit, correct. And then anytime you get that slingshot effect with the lift, just means you were generating a lot of tension in a non-recommended or non-ideal type of range of motion. So that's where all that energy gets released at the top there. So something I definitely need to work on. These heavier weights are going to expose your weaknesses, and you can kind of see here, same thing's going to happen, a little bit more exaggerated. That's why it's important to get different angles and then adjust as necessary. So sumo deadlifts were next, and these were not moving as well as I thought they were, at least mentally. Looking back at the video, it looks like any other deadlift I've ever done. But whenever I hit heavier singles and then I move on to heavy deadlifts, I feel a little bit drained. So I'm doing sets of 3 here. I think in another set or 2, I just do 2 just because I wasn't quite feeling it. And you're going to see here, my face changes color depending on how hard I'm exerting myself. And I go from having a lot of speed to not having a lot of speed. And I think a lot of that is just all that torso, traffic, I like to call it. There's just a lot. I've got a lot of body fat around there. And then for me to extend on these lifts, especially squats, with that belt in there, just makes it difficult. So hopefully as I get leaner, it becomes a little bit more efficient. I'm more rigid and upright, and I can brace a little bit better. So, these are moving pretty decent for having hit a heavy squat single. And I do pride myself in being, in good enough conditioning to be able to squat and deadlift heavy in the same workout. So something I've always worked on here. I'm including some unilateral rows here, and I like these just for like the bodybuilding aspect, but you can kind of see I had to do this set, film it twice because I was going way too fast. And in my own head, when you've got 300 milligrams of pre-workout going into your system, you're amped up for those heavy sets. A lot of times you're just you're feeling the groove, you're feeling good, and you're rushing through. You'll see on this side here, going a little too fast and I have to slow down. I'm a power guy. I like to really just generate a lot of force quickly, and then I'm training myself on these isolation movements to slow down, feel the contraction, and go from there. So it's a mental thing too, though, because when you're lifting heavy weights, you just want to move things as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. Any sort of speed bump or deviation can decrease your efficiency in lifting. Same thing here. On these, my lat mobility isn't the greatest, and so whenever I'm doing any sort of pull down, I try to, the movement, I try to extend as much as I can to really open my lats up. The problem is when you do this close grip stuff, you're kind of all jumbled together, everything's tight, especially when you're a bigger guy. The wider you go, you can really activate those muscles a little bit better. So that's why. But I do the wider stuff on my back day, and then as a secondary, I'll do the more narrow stuff here. And then moving into bench here. So we're going to work up to more heavy singles here. Again, same warm-ups almost as always, with slight deviations depending on how much weight. Obviously on OHP, on bench, we're not going to be able to move as much weight as you would on the lower body lifts, so not as much variation. But I usually just like to go the red, the yellow. You know, most people will do 135, 185, 225. With the kilos, you can kind of get away with a little bit more. And I prefer to make bigger jumps. It's just more efficient, and then you get to your lifts. At least your working weights go a little bit quicker. And so here, I threw on the wrist wraps just to kind of... I knew I was going into the heavier singles, so I wanted to condition myself. And here I took kind of a micro adjustment just to feel the 286 here. Some people might have just jumped to 308, but I wasn't feeling too confident. Sorry, 310. Forgot I put the change plate on there. And yeah, you could tell there was definitely not another rep left in there. So did a few singles just to feel the weights, get a little bit more experience with them. And then I always just have a spot with the heavier sets because I tend to lose bench lifts on the lockout. Off my chest, I'm good. I also have the safety spots here, so if it fell, I could just roll it on there. But, you know, sometimes having someone there with you, extra confidence boost, and, you know, you may be able to drive a little bit more. You won't second guess yourself if you're going to miss a lift and get pinned. And then following up here with some incline dumbbell press. These I'm trying to get heavy again on. And they look good when I watch the video. They feel like absolute dog, you know what, whenever I'm doing them, just because that 310 just took so much out of me. And I try to slow these down, feel the contraction, and really touch my chest. I don't have the strongest wrists in the world, so I like to use the wrist wraps. Sometimes my wrists will kind of roll inwards. And then I'm really just driving with the lower body and making sure I can get that contraction and working. I like doing lateral raises. Definitely need to slow down on these because sometimes when I'm just working through, I get into a groove and I'm just kind of going. So I like these doing the Egyptian version of these. They really hit like a different angle. And then on my other day, which I haven't showed the lift, I don't think so, I do the lateral raises in front just to kind of mix stuff up. You're hitting similar muscle groups, but you're just doing some sort of variation, so it's not the same thing over and over again. You know, just for like boredom and then for variety. Hit things from different angles, but hit the same muscles. So like here, I was feeling like doing some decline dumbbell flies. I was doing cables in the past, and you know, I was feeling these today. The heavier dumbbells you get, though, it's going to be difficult to get up there. But the issue with the cables, I wasn't able to get the contraction. I wasn't able to kind of, you know, move my elbow to a point where it's parallel with my body. The cables kind of lock you into a certain height, and then I wasn't able to get that contraction. So I do prefer cables because it is consistent and you can get more micro increments. But dumbbells are tried and true. A couple years ago, I used to incline fly 100-pound dumbbells, and I'm tapering back now to do better form-focused workouts to get better contractions as I go forward. So, and then here we are on Strongman Day, just doing log, warming up. And this one I'm super proud of. This isn't a PR day by any chance, but just hitting heavy singles to prep myself and just kind of showing you a little bit more here, what goes into the lifts. I like to use chalk. You know, the knurling on this log is kind of worn and beaten down, and then sometimes I'll put the chalk on my chest, which you've seen before, and that just sticks that weight there. It doesn't slide when I'm doing the clean. And the chalk just allows me to get a better grip. You know, if you can't grip that knurling, you can't generate the momentum, you can't generate the force to get that weight up. And moving quickly here, obviously these take a lot longer, but 255 here, taking less warm-ups and then just trying to get to my heavier weights. So you can see the chalk on my chest there. Hit that 280, that was nice, and then 300. I tend to stutter on the grip pulling now though, but once I get it up, super happy there, good to go. Did some back offs here of 255, and I'll usually do some form of percentage. I usually throw it into a calculator app or, you know, just to try to figure out what's like a good 3 to 5 rep range and then try to hit, you know, 3 reps with that just so I've got, not overexerting, but I am getting some good enough stimulus from there. Take my time, trying to be as clean as I can with these and really just rip these off the floor, use up momentum, try to teach myself to end up in a strong spot. Elbows could still be a little bit higher, but in the moment, these were moving well, so I'm going to take it here. Different angle, you can kind of just see what's kind of going on here. So yeah, I cannot wait for the day where I get a narrower waist and lose all that body fat there. I feel like it's impeding a lot of my lifts, and if I can just get to where I need to go quicker without having to go over that human body speed bump, my lifts will be a lot better. So again, something to work on going forward, but it's hard to balance the strength and everything with the dieting and trying to do all this and being active and stuff. So slowly but surely, I think we'll get there. You just have to check your ego and remember where you're going. You can't always be the strongest. You're going to be in the leanest at the same time without, additional assistance from other things. So I'm just doing what I can and taking it day by day and earning my lifts. I'm not going to be the strongest guy in the world. I've already accepted that, but I don't care. I'm competing against myself. I'm just trying to add different skills in my repertoire, different weight to the bar, and then just, trying to be as well-rounded as possible. So really happy about these. I'm able to get that weight up pretty quickly, press how I need to press, and then I'm getting better at this push press. It's taken months to kind of dial everything in and get my balance. I still feel a little iffy sometimes, but it's getting a lot more efficient, and I'm moving more weight than I would if I were strict pressing it. So I'm teaching myself this. I don't have a coach. I am my own coach. I just kind of look things up as I need. I watch my videos, and then if I need to make an adjustment, I make an adjustment, and then go from there. So last clip here, just different angle. You can kind of see like the clean is obviously my strong suit, which is why I like overloading it. The press is where we kind of have to meet in the middle. I'm really good at strict press, for the average person. Push press, I feel like I can do a lot more. I just have to train it. And then the log obviously is super cumbersome. It's more balance and then just maintaining position. So, another workout in the books. What's coming up next. You'll see a recap of everything I did. Keep following. We're going to keep putting weight on the bar. Keep trying to lose weight and get as strong as possible. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next vid. Thanks for watching.